Hi guys, this is week 14 at Project Life, and when I printed out my photos this week, you can see I've got a bit of a theme going. So I decided that I would just embrace the kind of purpley violetness of my photos this week and try and do a monochromatic layout. I went through all of my supplies and came up with this puny little pile of purpley pink cards and papers. It's clearly not a colour that goes into sort of kits or collections particularly often, so I don't have a whole lot of it, but I think I do have more than enough to fill in the gaps this week. So the first thing I did here, you can see I've got a journaling card in the middle, a 3x4 one that just has a little bit of that kind of violet colour at the top, and the rest is fairly neutral. I think it's really important when you kind of creating a really heavy color scheme like this is to have some sort of resting spots for your eyes. So I'm going to use that sort of neutral creamy color to do my journaling this week, and I did pick out this paper. I think it's a really old Dear Lizzie one, and it's got that same sort of tone to it, but just adding those kind of neutrals in with this really bright purple scheme is just going to help things be a little bit less busy. My bottom spot down here, I struggled to decide what to use, but in the end I'm going to go with this purple paper. I think this is an LE Studio one. It's a slightly different purple to some of the other more kind of pinky toned purples in the spread, but I do like that because it just adds a little bit of variance and stops everything getting too same. I've printed out two little square photos here. This is my magic color changing gin. Thank you very much, Alice. Sent me some gorgeous happy mail with some, I can't remember the name of them. They're butterfly pea flowers, maybe, something like that. They color the gin, and when you add the tonic, it turns pink. It's so pretty, and it was so needed. So I took a before and after shot. It doesn't require any sort of heavy journaling for this one either, so I am just going to add the words before and after using some of those alphas down there, and I figured I had pulled out some of these washi tapes, so I would just add a little bit of washi tape to the top here. This one's super thin, and I couldn't work out whether it had faded from sitting in the sun, but that second piece that I pulled out was a lot darker, and so when I stretched the tape out like this, I think it's actually a misprint on the washi. I don't think it's supposed to be like that because it came in a pack of solids, but there's definitely some variance of color in there. So I grabbed a couple more strips and just kind of layered them on top, and I really love the effect you get because it's sort of a bit more tonal than just rather one boring straight piece of washi. These tiny little puffy alpha stickers are from Pink Fresh Studios. I love them. Again, it's not the exact same kind of purple, but I like that tone on tone look. It's going to stop these words from becoming too sort of in your face, and it's definitely dark enough that you can see it standing off that background paper. Now, they are very little, so I am using some tweezers, and luckily this paper has some lines on there, so it's really easy to get it straight. I just wanted to try and make these words centered under each of the photos. You can see on the right hand side here, as well as pulling out a whole bunch of alphas that I had that was sort of in that purple tone. I did go through some of my embellishments and pulled out anything that was sort of in that purpley violet-y kind of tone as well. I didn't have a whole lot, but some of the things that I did have was some of these tiny words. They were kind of pink, sort of brighter pink, and there's a plain, I pulled out a couple of plainer sort of neutrals as well. So I think tiny words are going to be handy. I've got some puffy stickered hearts. I've got a few little enamel dots that I don't end up using, and I did actually have some purple sequin stickers that I don't use too, because I think again, with like a very bright color scheme like this, probably embellishment wise less is more. So that's exactly what I'm going to go with here. I'm just going to layer up a couple of these tiny word stickers. So I've picked one of the pink ones and one of the white ones. I think the pink ones are an old Studio Calico Seven Stories brand, maybe. Had them for a very long time, and you can see not used that many. And the other sheet there was from A Beautiful Mess, I think from a messy box, I think. But again, haven't used that many. Love to be able to use some of these older things in my stash. And I'm repeating that same embellishment here on this photo of me and Shane painting. I did change a couple of these photos into black and white this week just to kind of keep everything a bit more balanced. Those purple photos were really saturated and really heavy, and the photo of me and Shane painting was on a really dark day, so it was not a great sort of photo, but I wanted to document it because it was a fun activity that we did, and so changing things to black and white just makes it really easy, plus it's going to suit this color scheme way more. So I just typed out my journaling, and this week I kind of did it a bit differently. I just typed out some things like watching, eating, drinking, doing, that sort of thing, rather than kind of writing a list or struggling to write things anyway, I guess. Just made it a little bit easier to say what was kind of happening during this week. So I've added the word currently to the top there, again with that tone on tone alpha. I think those alphas are from the Willow Lane collection. And then I did add a little puffy heart to the space at the bottom of that card, but I will end up removing that later on. This card, this photo was so funny with Mel and Lily. They do not often lay together. They tolerate each other, but they're definitely not besties, that's for sure. And so we were a little bit shocked when they crawled up and lay together on the couch one night. I thought, you know, even they're getting behind the theme of togetherness here. So I took that photo, and just to fill in the blank space on that card, I added a bit of washi tape and a puffy word sticker from Rosie's Studios. So that sort of gave me the idea for my title card. I really loved that washi tape. It's a Heidi swap one. I decided to add that to my title card as kind of a shelf for my title to sit on. Because the washi tape I've already used on that 3x4 card was on the left-hand side, I didn't then want to have the washi tape on my title card on the left-hand side as well. So I've added that onto the right, and that just made this whole card come together really quickly. Now I've got these stickers. They're not quite purple, but they're sort of, you know, a cooler toned pink. So I've picked those out just because they're a little bit larger. I definitely didn't have any sort of large alphas that were going to fit this color scheme, but I really love these ones. But they don't have any numerals, so I'm having to spell out the word 14, which was a little bit of a mission. I wasn't quite sure where to start it, so I took a guess and just laid everything out really lightly. I didn't get it too far wrong. I do just have to shuffle all of these words over just a little bit. Now I don't really have anywhere to stamp my dates this week because I can't stamp on washi tape, and the background card is already quite busy. So what I decided to do was bring in some of this other lavendery purple paper from the bottom. I'm just going to trim that into a strip that I can stamp my dates on. Again, very handy having those lines, but it also brings out some of that colour from the bottom and stops this card becoming too pink. It just adds a little bit more of that purple back to it. This is one of those weeks that's sort of splits 2 months, so it's also really handy that I've got this big strip. I can stamp both of the full date stamps there. I don't have to worry about like masking anything, and I did leave a really big gap in the middle so that I could add one of these puffy sticker hearts rather than just drawing it in like I normally do. This is where I decide I don't love that heart on my journaling card. It's like sort of directly under the other one. And so what I decided to do is just really simply embellish the photo of me and my Dalgona coffee up here. Delicious, by the way, but probably not worth the effort for me. So it was fun to try, fun to take a photo of, and I'm just adding a few hearts because it was really good. And then that's my layout done. This week came together really easily, and I love how it turned out. All of that purple just makes me so happy, and it's something I don't use very often. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you want to keep watching, there are a couple more videos on screen. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Bye guys.